Hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be talking about something pretty fun. So recently, we've been hearing a lot about how Dana White really does not like how the rankings are going. Right now, it's done by press members, media members, and Dana White just does not like the rankings. He's not happy about it. The guys who he wants to be up towards the higher end of the rankings, they're not quite there. And he's recently been floating the idea and saying that soon he's going to replace rankings being done by media members to rankings being done by AI. I don't know how I feel about that. So at the end of the day, AI will do whatever it is programmed to based off of its parameters. So we don't even know if it's going to be a real AI. They might just call it that and then just fill it in however they want. But if they do it with an AI, I don't know that there's an AI that can do it well. So I decided to do a little bit of a test, and as you guys could see on the screen, we're going to be talking about it right now. We're going to look at the real UFC rankings as they are at the moment. And then I typed into ChatGPT and I asked it, I was like, hey, make me UFC rankings for each weight class and don't base it off of the current rankings, base it off of other things, stats, anything available to you, do that. And it did, and the results are interesting. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to talk about it, we're going to review it, and at the end, we'll talk about whether AI as a ranking system is a good idea. So looking at this real quick, right? At the top, we've got John Jones, and then Tom Aspinall is the interim champ at number 1. You got Alexander Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, number 4, Curtis Blades, number 5, right? Let's stop there. And let's go look at what it is for ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has John Jones number 1, which makes sense. He's the champ. But then they have Pavlovich number 2, even though Tom Aspinall, who's number 3, beat Pavlovich and is the current interim champion, but they have Tom at number 3. So that's already kind of a problem. That's kind of a problem if you're going to have AI doing it. It's got to be on point. You can't have mistakes like that because that just won't make any sense. And then let's see what else. So then they have Volkov on 3, Gone at 2. Here we have, where's Volkov? All the way down at 8. And then you have Gone at 4. And honestly, I don't really agree with that. I think that out of the two of them, I agree with the UFC rankings more. Aspinall, rightful number 1. Cyril Gane, number 2. I guess because he has a win over Volkov. It's not a super deep division right now, but that makes some decent sense. And then Almeida at 6 under Blades also makes some decent sense. So I agree with the UFC rankings more so than the AI. But let's try another division. We're not going to do every single one. That's going to take far too long. Let's do a competitive one. Let's do 135. That's fine. All right. 135. We got Merab as the champ. Then Sean Umar, number 2. Peter Yan, number 3. Let's see what we got. Let's go down to bantamweight. All right. So first issue is that Sean O'Malley is number 1 when Merab is literally the champion and beat Sean O'Malley. So that's a problem. Other problem is that as Aljamain Sterling at number 2 when Sterling is no longer in the division and he's now a featherweight. So that's not good. Corey Sandhagen at number 4 makes some sense, but where's Umar? Umar's all the way down at 11. He just cooked Corey Sandhagen. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And then Peter Yan's about where he is. Let's see. Does anything else stick out here that doesn't make much sense? I mean, Adrian Yanez still being there. Is he on the one here? Yeah, I didn't think he is. Where's Batista on the ChatGPT rankings? He's not even on it. So they don't even have Batista. They have Yanez. They have Jack Shore, who's no longer a bantamweight. They have Ronnie Barcelos, who I love him, but he should not be in the rankings anymore. And yeah, overall, just not very strong rankings. I mean, we have really glaring issues with the whole champion situation. So that's kind of a problem. Let's do one more. Let's do what could be fun. Let's do 155. How about that one? So we have Islam as the champ, Armin number 1, Oliveira number 2, Gaethje number 3, Poirier 4, Holloway 5. All right. And let's see. I have a feeling this one's going to be crazy. All right. So at least this time we got the champion right. Islam Makhachev, number 1 on the list. Then it has Charles Oliveira as number 2, which doesn't make much sense because Arman Tsarukyan, who's number 8 here, just beat Charles Oliveira and is probably challenging Islam Makhachev for the belt, and they have him at 8, which doesn't make any sense because he also knocked out Beneil Dariush, who's above him, which doesn't make any sense. So that's already off. 1 and 2, number 2 is off. And then let's see. Oliveira, Gaethje are next on the UFC rankings. Oliveira. So if you just put Oliveira down 1 and moved Tsarukyan up, that would make a lot more sense. And then Gaethje's about where he should be. Poirier's exactly where he is. They don't have Holloway on the list, but I can't blame the AI too much because at the end of the day, he has been moving up through weight classes back and forth. Maybe the AI got confused. And then let's see. Is Patty ranked? I didn't know that he was ranked. He is ranked 14 on the UFC rankings, 15 on the AI rankings. I guess that makes some sense. And there's no Connor, so that's good. That's a good thing because he doesn't fight. And he's not on the UFC rankings either, which I honestly thought he still was. So I'm glad they took him off there. And yeah, once again, a little bit better this time around for this weight class is ChatGPT rankings, but still, a little bit slacking. And then I wanted to do the pound for pound one as well, because that one I think will be interesting too, right? So men's pound for pound over here. Islam's number 1, Pereira's number 2, and John Jones is number 3. And this is the ranking that's been really annoying Dana White because he wants John Jones to be number 1. As Dana would say, you put any living man in a room with John Jones is walking out that room. So let's see if ChatGPT will make that better for Dana. Let's check it out. Men's pound for it won't make it better for him. In fact, this one might throw him in a fit because Alex Pereira isn't even on it. Yeah. See, it doesn't make much sense. I know sometimes this works off of old data, so maybe that's why. But I mean, you got Volk at number 1. Doesn't make any sense because he's not even champion anymore, and he lost twice in a row. Makhachev at 2. Okay, I mean, he should be 1. Jones after Makhachev. So if we take off Volk, then it has it Makhachev, John Jones. That's fine. But Pereira should be on the list. And then you got Edwards, Adesanya. Where are they on this list on the UFCs? Israel is all the way down on this one. Edwards a little bit higher. Tom's way too low here. Sterling still being in pound for pound is kind of weird for me. And yeah, he's not on it for the UFC one. Yeah, not the best. Definitely not the best. Sean O'Malley's still at number 6 when on this list he's bottom at 13. Yeah. For me personally, I think that it's the UFC rankings that are better. Now, I will say I did just use ChatGPT. It's not made for this. Sometimes it uses older data. So if the UFC really makes a comprehensive AI that considers everything, I'm talking, times between fights, how many fights they had each year, who are they beating, level of competition, how they beat them, finishes versus decisions, maybe even put in the scorecards for their fights. Maybe one guy won a 5-rounder, but it was close. Another guy won a 5-rounder, but it was a blowout. Maybe they should be ranked a little bit higher. Those things, if they can incorporate that into an AI ranking system, maybe it could be better. But I feel like at the end of the day, for me at least, this is a sport where only your eyes, only human eyes can really understand what's going on and can really decide. And it's always going to be super subjective based on what people think makes the pound for pound great, makes you the top of the rankings. It'll always be subjective, but AI will be subjective too, based off of the information you're giving it and the parameters you set it with. So I don't love the current rankings. I think they can use some work. Renato Moicano not moving up at all after beating Benoit Saint-Denis, who was being pushed to go into a championship bout. Renato beats him and doesn't move up the rankings. That's a bit silly. Maybe we can find a middle ground. Maybe we can do it with both and then kind of just weigh it. We'll see. But those are my thoughts on the matter. Right now, until they come up with something really comprehensive, I say stick with the current rankings. Let the media members do it. maybe give them parameters at what they should be looking at. And once you develop something better, more comprehensive, AI gets a little stronger, then you can switch to AI rankings. And that's what I'm thinking on the topic. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Peace out, and I'll catch you next time.